Hello there, folks. Hello, hello. My name is TinyTim78.
I'm Killerchair.
And this is the start of the show. TASbot is here.
Mr. TASbot, sir, can I just say I'm a huge fan. Like, I'm a little nervous meeting you in person, so just bear with me.
Yeah, TASbot and I have met before, so we're looking forward to this. So, before we start, first of all, a massive thank you, as xoneris has just said. Amazing amount, 6,620 raised for Mind. Thank you so much for making this happen, for TASbot being here. Now, before we start, this is going to be a very, very interesting run. It's going to be quite a, what's the word?
Complicated.
Complicated, yes. And as you can perhaps see on stream here, we do have a little bit of health and safety warning before we start this run, okay? What you will be seeing is 4 games played simultaneously, okay? And I'll talk a little bit more about the tech that enables that shortly. But the thing to remember is when we start the video here, because this is a video, due to marathon sort of tech reasons, we're running a video here. And what we're going to do is when it starts, you're going to see the 4 screens. Now, you will be getting audio only from Mega Man 4, I'm afraid. Okay? So I hope you like Mega Man 4 music. I do. So we're good there. Yeah, I think TASbot does as well. So you'll be doing Mega Man 4 audio. Now, there are 4 going on at the same time. And if you've played the Mega Man game before, you know that quite often there's a little bit of flashing lights. Yeah. Multiply that by 4, and you've got a lot of flashing. Okay? So there is going to be a lot of flashing lights in this run. So please be prepared for it. One other little tip is because there are 4 screens going on at the same time, there is an awful lot of movement on the screen here. It's quite intense. So what we suggest, what the authors suggest, is making sure that you are watching, sort of focusing on the middle of the screen to enable, just to make sure that you're not getting yourself too overloaded with the sensory stuff here. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready for some TASbots? Okay. Here we go. I will count us down. And we are starting in 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, right, first of all, we are running the TASbot, and we are doing this fantastic run by Baxter and Angerfist. They created this fantastic TAS. Now, let me talk a little bit about TASes quickly, and then we'll hand over to Killerchair to give you a little bit of Mega Man knowledge. So, TAS is tool-assisted speedrun, okay? Most people probably know that, but you might not. And what this is, it's 4 games being played simultaneously. And they're being played on the same set of inputs. So what the creators have done here is they have gone through frame by frame each of the 4 games and recorded a sequence of inputs that's then played back on an emulator. Now, that sounds cool, but what's really cool is there is 1 sequence of inputs. There's just 1 file, and that's controlling all 4 games at once. Okay? Now, it might not be immediately obvious, but every single input that's happening is 1 single input, and some of the games are picking up depending on where they are, and some of them are not. We will be completing all 4 of these games. Right, Chair, would you like to maybe talk a little bit about the games quickly?
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on already. I believe earlier I saw Mega Man 4 pick up the balloon item in Pharaoh Man stage, which is going to be used for a lot of platforming. We got the rush coil on the top left, Mega Man 3 being used. Nice and low on health, doing a lot of weird movements, again, because of the inputs being shared between them. So those slides on the single blocks are insanely difficult to do, even as just a normal single run. It's very tight, very specific jumps that you need to do off of those. And we're buffering those inputs along with 3 other games, which is absolutely ludicrous. On the bottom screens, Mega Man 5 and 6 are now on boss fights. Starman is a very good opening stage, and Flame Man is a good thing. We got both of those finished as we're heading into 2 additional boss fights. This is a lot to look at, a lot to deal with, but just look at how all of those synchronized inputs are working with fighting these bosses.
Yep, let's go into a bit more detail about how this actually works then for you. Just in case we haven't made it clear, we have the 4 games. Top left we have Mega Man 3, top right Mega Man 4, bottom left Mega Man 5, and bottom right, Mega Man 6. Now, the games will not finish at exactly the same time. You will see some of them slightly ahead of the others, and there is one game that will obviously finish last. Now, the way that the inputs are being worked here is that each game sometimes generates a bit of lag. So we have one single set of inputs, and what's happening is we are following that set of inputs. But for example, when you see top left there, Mega Man sliding, when he is sliding, then obviously he's not able to accept an input. So the way the TAS is created is just amazing, because what they've done is they've gone through every single game and worked out what combination of key presses will allow each game to progress individually, obviously without affecting or greatly affecting the other games. As Killerchair mentioned, you'll sometimes see Mega Man turning to the left, sometimes shooting on one of the games where there's nothing to shoot at or whatever, and that's normally lag reduction, well, lag increasing actually, because lag is one of the main ways you can use to ensure that you're making progress on all the games at the same time. The other one, of course, is cutscenes, because when at the end of each Robot Master stage, you're getting a weapon pickup cutscene, you're then getting the Robot Master Select, and that is another prime time for particular games to make progress, and the other game is obviously in the cutscene. Okay, I'll let you have a quick shot here, Chair. We're still making our way through these levels.
On the top right, we have the balloon item being heavily used to just jump over a whole bunch of spikes and just get a bunch more upward momentum. Like 20 seconds ago or so, you saw the bottom right Mega Man 6 slide jump off of like single block things, bombs with 3-second timers on it. That normally already, for a lot of casual players, gives a lot of stress to jump from the one to the other to not fall down. But again, with all those inputs being in the same game, getting those slides off of timed bombs is just kind of nuts to look at. Seeing a whole bunch of screens being different right now. One of them gets a weapon, one of them selects a weapon, one of them fights a boss, and one was on an auto-scroller for a second. So a lot of different things going on right now.
There's nice little clips here. If you look at Mega Man 3, you'll see when you come up to these big snake heads, you will actually do a clip. Now, I'm not entirely familiar with it, Chair, but you could maybe confirm for me. I don't believe that's something that's normally done. I think that's a TAS-only trick. Is that correct? You'll see it in a second here.
Unsure. We will
You'll see it here. You clip through this snake head here.
That does look like it might be TAS only. It's been a while since I've seen like direct speedruns of them. I have seen them before. Yep. There's a lot of cool clips and tricks and things in all of these games. I'm just looking around to see like what can I commentate on that doesn't take away from the other right now.
Yeah. There's so much going on here. So yeah, we're just watching this progress. One of the things to mention is that, as I've said, all the games are at different lengths. So you will see a little bit of a difference in terms of when they complete, and it will very much. A lot of the games are timed so that the movements basically sync up as well as possible. Now, during the recording process, what the creators had to do here was actually do it in little batches and make sure there was no desync between the games. So that's something that was very important. And there was a massive number of re-record attempts. Now, a TAS, as the name suggests, it's recorded, and basically you are making a video, you're making a TAS step by step by recording frame by frame inputs. And you can imagine for a typical TAS of a game like this, about 30 minutes or so, how many inputs that would be. And then multiply that by 4, because you're having to combine them, then yeah, it's quite impressive. I think we can maybe get that donation in just now, if that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah, I would love to. We got 30 euros by Fast Human with an F instead of a T. Greetings from a food-assisted speedrunning human. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, I'll let you comment on the boss fight here, Chair.
Yeah, we just beat a few stages, and on the top right, we're using Pharaoh Shot to deal a lot of damage to Ringman. There's a funny thing about the Pharaoh Shot where you got this charge mechanic where it charges up above your head. Hitting a boss with that does not take away your charged shot, so you can essentially deal damage twice with an individual shot. While on the bottom left, you got the super arrow, which is a thing that is currently being used to apparently glitch and clip through the stage. The super arrow, you only really need ammo, like the last bit of ammo to launch a super arrow, and then it'll just go as far right as possible. So that's very interesting usage that gets used out of that.
Something else to mention here, we've already talked about it. Well, we've kind of mentioned it. This entire run, the 4 games combined, is going to be about 38 minutes. Now, optimal run of the longest game here, which is Mega Man 4, is about 34 minutes. So really, you're only losing 4 minutes from an optimal time. Now, the thing to remember, because we're running 4 games together, this is not 100% optimal for every game. Because as you'll see, again, we've mentioned it, changes of direction, jumping, etc., to allow the other games to make progress. But it's incredible how close it comes. 4 minutes difference between doing Mega Man 4 on its own and doing 3, 4, 5, and 6 together. I mean, that is TASbot at its best. It really, really is. It's difficult to explain how much work goes into one of these. It isn't something that I am incredibly up on myself, but I do know a lot of how much effort goes into these. And the creators of this one worked a very, very long time. And as you can see, the end result is absolutely spectacular. Right, boss is coming up.
I'm just loving how a lot of these fights get cut real close with the health. Like the health management, the weapon management is all just like brilliantly done. Got some more weakness usage against the boss fights. And we're heading into even more stages. The only stage that is actively playing there is Waveman, as we're starting Hardman at the top left. More power is gained, more enemies gotten. So now there's a lot of lag on the top left due to the bees there. Looks like we're going to be using them to get more lag inputs, to get more things consistently for the other runs as well. Very impressive seeing all of this go down, and then the Waveman bubble area just safely ascend the bubbles without any problems. Got Skullman on the top right with one of my favorite themes in that game. It's very good music in all of these games, actually.
The only negative to this is, unfortunately, we've got four games, 4 amazing soundtracks, and we are only listening to the one soundtrack. There is a reason for that, which I will talk about towards the end of the run. Something else to mention, and we discussed this before the run, people ask, well, hang on, you've only got 4 games. Why can't you do the other 2? Well, unfortunately, Mega Man 1 and 2 are quite different for a couple of reasons. The first reason being that they are obviously shorter, and they do not have the slide. And the slide is one of the major mechanics here that we can utilize to ensure that each game progresses appropriately.
Yeah, Mega Man 1's movement is also very different from basically the entire series. It's a lot slidier, a lot slippier, feels a lot heavier. From Mega Man 2 onwards, they kind of got the movement system that they wanted. But yeah, like you said, no slide in that one.
Yeah, so that's one of the major reasons, really. We're just running, and the authors do mention that yes, it would be obviously a huge amount of work to include the other games, but you do reach the point, as I've said, of sensory overload. And at the moment, I have to say it's not too bad, but you will come up, certainly when we get further in, you will notice there are occasions when 2 or 3 of the screens are all flashing at once, and it's definitely a lot. And it's fantastic, obviously, from a technical perspective, but yeah, you're sitting there going, oh, wow.
Yeah. By the time I've noticed one thing on one screen, the others have already moved on to something new. We have 2 synchronized boss kills. That's brilliant. Skullman on the top right going down and Waveman on the bottom left.
A bit of Top Man at the top left here.
Yep. And we got a Nightman on the bottom right.
And a little bit about the structure of these games. One of the reasons that this does work as well as it does is these games are actually structured quite similar. So you have 8 Robot Master stages in each game. And then once you beat the 8 Robot Masters in Mega Man 3, you take on 4 Dark Robot Masters. In Mega Man 4, you take on the 4 Cossack stages. In Mega Man 5, you take on the 4 Darkman stages. And in Mega Man 6, you take on the 4 Mr. X stages.
Correct.
And then after that, you take on the Wily Fortress. And I don't think the number of stages are identical in each version, but they're fairly
I
close.
think there's a minor difference, yeah.
I think maybe 3 has got an extra one, perhaps. But that allows, obviously, the games to line up fairly close, and you will see that most of them will finish the Robot Master stages about the same time.
I'm loving the top left there on the top man stage. Those platforms are a nightmare to traverse. And they switched to the hard knuckle early to kind of buffer a little bit of air input by firing with it. Get some more super arrow refill on the bottom left to get further much faster.
We have mentioned it before, but lag is very important in terms of making sure that the runs are able to progress appropriately and that they're consistent and one doesn't get sort of too far behind or whatever. And the way that in which we can actually do that, you will see occasionally that there will be, like we saw earlier on with the bees, certain enemies will be left. Mega Man will shoot extra to add extra bullets on the screen to ensure that extra lag is created to allow the other games to sort of catch up.
That Crystal Man fight, just on 2 health, no problem at all. Beautiful to see. Another thing I've noticed is that a good moment to buffer inputs is during screen transitions, because you've got no inputs whatsoever there.
Yep, that's definitely, again, one of the tricks that's used to ensure it all works. But the amount of, again, it bears repeating, the amount of time and effort required to go into this, even just for a single run. I mean, a single task of one of these is, well, depending on how many people are working on it, is months of work. And to do this, because again, just to emphasize, 4 games, 1 set of inputs. It isn't like we have 4 separate tracks that we're running together here. We're running 1 set of inputs across all 4 games, which really, really is absolutely incredible.
Those Shadow Man platforms there, just brilliant. It's a very difficult thing. I've seen people speedrun Mega Man 3 and struggle with that. And then just having the other games inputs on top of just casually sliding over those is brilliant.
I also want to point out that I'm absolutely delighted to have been doing this because Mega Man games, I'm absolutely terrible at them, but I absolutely love them. I mean, these games look really, really good, don't they?
Yeah, no, this is a delight to watch. I've been a Mega Man fan ever since I first started playing video games. One of my first games that I've ever played is Mega Man 7, and it's just... I've played the entire series. The only series that I haven't touched is the Legends ones, but I'll get around to those eventually.
They are very, very good. I mean, they stand up, in my opinion, they stand up pretty well.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, TASbot shows you what is possible when you go down to basically a frame perfect level.
Another nice clip through the floor there on the bottom left. What's also fun to mention is that with TASs and such, you can quite often manipulate the RNG to get exactly the item drops that you need to continue. So for instance, on the super arrow on the bottom left, we just ran out, and TASbot killed an enemy and got the weapon drop to get the super arrow back up. Now we got 2 more fights. We got Napalm Man just down, and we have Centaur Man on the bottom right.
And then top right as well.
Yep, Drill Man up there. While we're just progressing through the Sparkman Doc Robot stages, or is this just regular Sparkman?
I think that's a regular. I think we haven't quite reached it yet. We're coming up very shortly when we're going to transition out of the 8 Robot Masters into the extra stages. you'll see it. I always love these weapon get screens and seeing them together.
It's great to see the comparison between the different versions.
And there's the best boy.
Yep.
Cheer for the best boy. We got Rush up there.
Good dog. Now, Capcom, when is Mega Man 12? I'm waiting.
Well, yes. I don't think we get many people saying that we don't want a Mega Man 12.
All right, we got the Toadman stage, the stage that many people playing Mega Man 4 start with when they first start playing. Because he doesn't look too impressive, and the fight really also isn't too impressive. The stage itself is quite difficult, though, with the rain pushing you back. Later on, water currents pushing you back. All sorts of shenanigans there.
Bit of time stopper use there, just to keep us ticking along. I'm loving them. We're moving into the Dark Robot Masters at the top left here.
Yes, correct.
But again, the amount of colour on the screen at once and the amount of movement on the screen at once.
It really is a lot.
It's a lot. I'm loving it, but it's quite intense.
The cool thing about the Dark Robots, though, once we get around to those fights, is that we have got a little bit of a Mega Man 2 cameo in Mega Man 3 already, with a lot of Robot Master powers from 2 being utilized in the Dark Robots. Just freezing the boss, still taking damage because the hitbox is apparently just there.
And I've kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to go on a little bit of a spiel here.
Absolutely, go ahead.
The soundtracks for these games. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about video games is the music. For me, music is a critical part of the game experience, and a good game can become an amazing game with a good soundtrack. Got Toadman coming in here.
Yep. And on the top left, you saw a brief demonstration of how fast optimal mashing can go. All of those little blobs spawn an additional enemy from them. So the blob itself takes one hit, and then the enemy takes one hit. And you just saw a hole being drilled through him like it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're down to sort of frame perfect
inputs
here with TASbot. They're able to mash faster than anybody would physically be possible to do it.
That damage boost there, brilliant.
More rush top right, and we've also got Darkman stage.
Yep.
Bottom left here. I love those fortress pictures, by the way. They're some of my favourites in the game. And there's Mr. X at the bottom right and Dr. Cossack at the top right.
So those all line up pretty well, actually. Seeing some more super arrow usage. And just killing an enemy with a super arrow, grabbing some more ammo. Every time I see that, it's just brilliant.
I'm honestly, I mean, I've seen this before, but I'm sitting here just drinking it in, just experiencing it and thinking how amazing, how much effort, again, I know I've mentioned it a few times, I'm repeating myself a bit, but it bears repeating how much effort and time that goes into these. Literally, I don't quite know how long it took to do this, but I would imagine it was certainly months and possibly even years for creating something like this. And it is really, really, it's the pinnacle, really, for me of tool-assisted speedruns, doing this sort of thing. So
yeah,
I hope everybody's enjoying it.
I always love these slightly quirky tool-assisted speedruns as well. Because of course it's very impressive to see the optimal versions of every run. But to see like something weird, like 4 games being played with the very same inputs. Like I've seen players, like human people, do like one controller attached to 2 games and trying to see if they can beat it. And now we're seeing 4 at the same time, same inputs.
Yeah. Now Mega Man 6 is starting to get slightly ahead now. We're moving on, I think 6 is ahead, then 5, then 4.
Still very close on those 3 though,
and
currently.
Boss going down there. Now this is where it starts to get a bit more flashy, so just be aware. I know there's certainly one point where I think there's 3 bosses being defeated at the same time, and it's quite impressive.
I believe most of the bosses in all the fortresses have the flashing lights when they get destroyed. And I, for one, am suddenly very in the mood to play through all of classic Mega Man again.
I would if I was any good at it, but anybody that's ever seen me play Mega Man knows that I'm not. But I think I was saying this to somebody before the run, that it's a game series that I've got so much passion for and so much love for, and I know I'm absolutely terrible at it, but that doesn't matter. You can still enjoy something even if you don't actually. I prefer to actually watch runs. I prefer to watch people play it rather than play it myself. Sounds a bit daft, but I do. And this is peak stuff.
It's the dog robot fights. What's interesting to note about the dog robots is that their like physical hitboxes are pretty big. So taking damage on them is very easy there as well.
And that's the last dark robot on the top left there now. That amazing balloon usage and swapping in the menu there, top right. And Rush, of course.
The 1 health on the bottom left.
Yeah. Oh, right, okay, yeah, going into boss with 1 health,
Yep. We've got basically the stretch of the most difficult stages just everywhere now. The bottom left boss is taking damage, going down, no damage taken whatsoever.
Again, the menuing here is quite important. It's very, very, because what you don't want to do is have menus opening unnecessarily too much in the games that don't need it. So that's where the lag reduction comes in, that's where the cutscenes come in, to try and optimize it as much as possible. Mega Man 5 making some very good progress here. There's, that boss gives me nightmares at the top right there. This boss definitely...
Understandable. You really have to hit the right slides underneath and in between, and it's easy to just get crushed as well. So that's another boss done on the top right.
A bit of rush at the top left here. Rushing off the screen there, actually.
Yep. Yeah, what's interesting about Mega Man 3 is that Rush's flight is very flexible, very fast. It's basically the most overpowered version of Rush Jet. But once you're not touching Rush and you're off screen, it seems to not take ammo.
One of my favourite stages in the whole set of games here, Cossack 3, which is the auto-scroller.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why do you like the auto-scroller? There's a reason I like the auto-scroller. The music.
Yep.
That's the only reason for liking it, really.
Understandable. Because Mega Man music is so good. There's a reason why there's so many remixes and covers and all sorts of things of it.
Notice top right here how close we're keeping to the edge, look. Getting right in, little menu in there, right into the side of the auto-scroller there. Coming into the next X stage bottom right. I think we've got time for a message, chat.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So while everybody's enjoying TASbot, I just want to remind everybody that we're still raising money for charity here because of very generous donations. We so far made to 6,620. How about we hit like 6,666 before the end of this run? And I also want to remind everyone the next run is the final run of the marathon, but there's a special thing going on there. The runners prepared like 13 different incentives for just that run, which will unlock every 25 euros donated, and I think so far 4 of those have already been met. So yeah, just to give you guys reason, there's still reasons to donate, aside from charity, that is. And yeah, back to this awesome showcase.
Absolutely.
One thing I'd like to highlight here, maybe you can comment on this, Chair, is some of the movement here with the slides, where Mega Man is sliding along and then literally jumping out of the slide.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously, well, I think it's possible without TAS, but it's, yeah. TAS makes it look easy.
It is very difficult to get, like, optimal slide jumps. We got somebody who looks like our friend Proto Man on the bottom left. A little cutscene playing, so that's a very good moment for the other runs to have less inputs to deal with.
Yeah, they're moving ahead, and we've got a Dark Robot Master top left.
Yep. The Metal Man one.
Oh, he's gone.
Yep.
Blink and you miss him.
That real Proto Man saved Mega Man on the bottom left for the final Dark Robot.
I love this. We've got Mr. X at the bottom right here. which is quite an interesting fight.
Yep.
And I love the big reveal. We're ready for this one. We ready? Fail D! For anybody who's never seen that before, Fail D on the bottom right, and it was Dr. Wily all along.
What? Mine was blown today.
Yep. So 6 is on to the Wily Fortress. It's the first one onto the Wily Fortress. And 6 will be the first game finishing.
Yeah. On the top right, we're going to the final Cossack stage.
Got Wily in the bottom left because, well, it was him again.
Yep.
Yeah, no!
Yeah, I know.
Even TASbot saw that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think TASbot sees everything coming.
Yeah, I think too, yes.
Yeah.
You want to say something, xoneris, or you good?
I'm good. I forgot to deactivate the button.
You're
Here's
good.
Fine. Oh,
Hey,
look at that.
that's
flip
fine.
You
there.
guys are doing a great job.
Oh, wow!
Shoutouts to xoneris for being a good boy.
He's not a good boy as Rush, though, I'm afraid.
I mean, Rush is also a good. They
sorry,
could both be.
xoneris.
They could both be a good boy.
Moving on to Fortress in 5 here, bottom
Yep.
left, and also in 3. But we've got Dr. Cossack coming up in 4. I think 4 is possibly my favourite. And that's perhaps a bit of a hot take.
Out of these, it's 3 for me.
Cossack Catcher as well, which is a very cool boss.
It does look like we have a donation right now, so let's get to that.
We do indeed have a donation, but we also reached 6,666, so claps for that. Woo!
Keep it coming.
So the donation that made this possible was 46 euros from my good friend Ras,
Hey.
with the message, because bestie said so.
Thank you, Ras.
Thank you, Ras. You're also my bestie.
We've just made the dinosaur extinct in the bottom right here. And we've now moving on finally to the Wily Fortress in Mega Man 4. And these stages, for anybody that's played... Oh, look at
that
lovely clip in 5 there. You will be delighted to know that these... Oh, another one. Very cool. And just past the chicken. But no, you'll be delighted to know that these stages are definitely the hardest in the games. Chair,
Yeah.
would like to elaborate?
Yeah,
perhaps?
no, there's a lot of difficult stages going on right now. Mega Man, of course, is a series well known for its difficulty. And the final stages just ramp up. They just go off. So there's a boss fight in the top left, easily dealt with. Boss fight, or mini-boss, I believe. No, there's actual boss fight in the bottom left as well. On barely any health, just crystal shots. This is insanity. Pure insanity. On the top right, we're in like the Meteor-themed level. There's just a lot of different Meteors going around.
Shout outs to the fantastic Wily stage music
Yeah.
for Mega Man 4. Again, we keep mentioning it. I mean, I honestly think you could sit and play through or listen to any of these games.
Oh yeah, no, I've got
really
soundtracks
enjoy
that I
the
just
soundtrack.
put up, yeah.
Yeah.
Get some more bees. Those tend to introduce lag. So
Yeah.
I'm sure the other games are enjoying that a lot.
Taking advantage of the lag there. I mean, it is there. Yeah, you just notice a little bit of left. Every time you see a left movement, most of the time that's going to be compensating for sort of letting the other games to sort of catch up. I've got massive metal at the top right here.
There's a lot of cool Meteor-themed boss fights throughout the series. I think this classic big Meteor is my favorite out of them. He just sits there,
Got a devil at the top left, I
jumps
think.
around. The top left is Yellow Devil right now. Yellow Devil, of course, being a very famous fight.
Infamous.
Just goes down, no problem at all.
And if you look at the sort of frame perfect sliding at the bottom left there, you can just tell the difference there. Absolutely incredible stuff. Really enjoying it. Oh, and we're starting boss refights in the bottom right here.
Time for the refights. Of course, utilizing all the weaknesses to all the bosses where we have them, which should, I assume, just be all the exact amount of ammo that we need there. Maybe more if they haven't been utilized too much.
They'll pretty much be the absolute optimum pattern. As we
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
earlier on, these tasks are not 100% accurate because obviously you're having to compensate for the fact you're doing 4
Yeah.
at once,
Yeah.
but they're pretty close.
Better than I'll do them, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
Bit of flashing here now. Well, yeah, I mean, like I say, when I played through the first 3 of these games fairly recently on stream, I managed to beat, like, what, 1 boss or 2 bosses.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that
Yeah.
puts it in perspective. I'm terrible at these games.
I've played these games, all of these numerous times. I've lost count at this point, but like at this level of skill, it's just insanity. So the boss refights in the bottom right are just going real fast. We're heading into the boss refights in the bottom left now as well.
Yeah.
Starting with Charge
Charge
Man.
Man, yeah, we've got Centre Man bottom right.
Yep.
Not quite sure what's happening in the top left there. That was, all right, yeah.
I was looking at top right for the moment.
Yeah.
There's so much that you're gonna miss. I recommend later on when this has a VOD to check them out, check it out again, maybe a couple more times.
Honestly, it does bear repeating. The authors actually mention in the author's notes that they themselves have watched the run a few, the VOD a few times, the task a few times, and they actually spotted things they weren't aware of.
Yeah.
Because obviously, when you're creating it, when you're doing it frame by frame, obviously it's different from watching the finished product. So.
Very tight jumps at the boss in the top right. Beautiful to see. We got refights on the top left as well now. So a lot of boss refights going on. Just non-stop boss fights.
And again, something that Chair has mentioned, and it's perhaps because there's so much going on, you don't really realize, but what the TAS is doing here is that almost very, very much all of this is practically optimal. So in terms of ammo, in terms of damage, etc., it's the optimal. Again, for the reasons we've discussed, not 100%, but very, very close, and better probably than most human people could
for
manage.
Sure.
Blizzard Man, bottom right.
I think we have time for a small little donation coming in.
All right, perfect. We got €3 from someone, bringing us to 6,669.
Nice.
There we go. Comment reads, donating this because nice. Also wanted to thank the wonderful person who has brought TASbot over for this run. They have been explaining me a lot of the more technical efforts that go into creating the actual physical TASbot, and I've been enjoying it a lot. The run, also amazing to watch. With that, back to you guys.
Absolutely. Now, if somebody could donate like €300, that'd be great.
I will at this point. I will be shouting out again later on as well. But I would like to shout out again to both Baxter and Angerfist who created this task, which is really impressive. And also a shout out to Blastermac, who was essential in bringing TASbot here to BSG, and also DwangoAC, keeper of TASbot, for getting everything arranged and asking us to do the commentary.
Absolutely.
Which I have to say is an honour and a privilege to be here. So thank you so much indeed, Blastermac and Dwango and Baxter and Angerfist.
Yeah, we have one game finishing up right now on the bottom right, Mega Man 6, done.
There we go, it's the first one. Now, as these games get completed, obviously, it makes it easier for the remaining games to be a little more optimised because they're not having to take into account the extra. And there's Wiley getting his. He's locked away. There he goes.
Forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It'll be fine. We got Gamma on the top left going down. I think that is Mega Man 3 done as well.
I'm not sure. I seem to remember. Maybe. Oh.
More fights going on the top right.
Yep, we're on to the credits on bottom right here. Oh, we are on the...
Yep.
Oh, yeah, this is the... Yeah.
2 games done, 2 to go. Bottom left being very close now as well.
There's
With the
massive
Wiley
boss.
machine.
Yep.
Of course, just optimal weapon usage. It's perfection there.
I always love the yeah, we've got the final Wily fight bottom left here.
And Wily will naturally show up exactly where we want him.
Another advantage of TASbot here. Perfect RNG. As I say, I always love you're seeing it in the top left and the bottom right here. I love the little robot bios, robot master bios.
And that is
the playthrough.
Mega Man 5 done.
There we go. It's another one. So we're 3 down, 1 left. So we will be coming up for time fairly shortly. Time will be when the
Wily capsule,
Wily
so
capsule is
after.
destroyed.
But first we got this fight still. And off he floats.
Yep.
And as Mega Man likes to do often, we've got a moment that says, but wait, there's more. So, as you can clearly see right now, Mega Man 4, a little bit longer than the rest of them. The other 3 finished relatively close to each other. But we're now actually going to see the very final bit of the run.
Did notice Wily flying off there in Mega Man 5. He always gets away until 6 when he gets locked up.
And then, spoilers, there's
knows?
Mega Man 7
Yeah.
and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. It might be Wily in those as well.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, so final capsule fight. Again, utilizing the double Pharaoh shot usage.
Yeah, that is incredible.
And that
Very
is
cool.
time.
There we go. That's time. You will get the wonderful credits music here for Mega Man 4.
Oh, yeah.
But I will just finish off with a few shout-outs again. First of all, DwangoAC for putting this all together. Blaster Mac for bringing TASbot here. The Baxter and Angerfist, cannot thank you enough. Fantastic. Put so much time and effort into this run. I hope you've enjoyed this showcase. Killerchair, thank you very much
Yeah,
indeed.
no, thank you for being here as well.
Yep, it's-
Delight to have you with me. Talking about Mega Man together, one of my favorite things to do.
Yep, it has been an absolute pleasure. And thank you for donating 6,669 towards Mind. It cannot be stated how much that is going to be helpful. So we really do appreciate, from everybody here, we appreciate it. So thank you so much. We are now going to hand it back to xoneris while we listen to this fantastic music. Cheers!
Yay! Thank you so much, Tiny Tim and Killerchair, for commentating this awesome task run. Like you said, thank you everyone so much for making this actually possible with all of your generous donations. And yeah, unfortunately, it is time for the final run of the marathon. We'll be jumping into a quick intermission to set that up, but please don't forget, we're still raising money for charity, and if we can make 7,000 at the end of the next run, that'd be so cool. So stay tuned, stay hyped, grab a drink, grab a snack. We'll be right back with you.